Welcome back to Filmmaster Reviews, I'm Adam J. For the 3 whole videos I do every year, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. Well, as always, now that I've discussed the worst films of the year, I can reward myself by talking about my favorite films. And yes, like the worst list, I'm only doing a top 10 this year because, quite frankly, I'm pretty happy with the 10 films I chose. That being said, here are a couple honorable mentions. The Running Man. I think the people who hated this film were expecting a remake of the old Arnold classic, and I can understand that. That being said, for those who have actually read the book The Running Man by Stephen King, or Richard Bachman, whatever, same fucking person, this film was a far better adaptation and helped it stand out on its own as a result. This was great, the original was great, pick your poison. Shelby Oaks. Okay guys, seriously, I think the hate for this one has been very overblown. The movie is very well directed and well acted, with some really kick-ass visuals, especially at the end. The movie does falter in the writing department a bit. It's far from perfect in that regard. But for a horror film debut made on a small budget, this was very impressive from where I'm standing. One battle after another. This is my last honorable mention, and let me just say, I would not be surprised if this took home some Oscars. This was very well written, very well shot, and beautifully acted. The problem I have with the film is the pacing. The movie is too long, and the problem with the movie being too long is that sometimes it feels long. This definitely felt long. Like, I was looking at my watch a lot of the time. So despite how good the movie really is, and it is, I don't really see myself rewatching it again anytime soon. That being said, let's kick off the top 10. I fucking hate this franchise. The original movie sucks, the sequels all suck, the other remake of it sucked, and I was not looking forward to this at all. But this remake, hot fucking damn was this a blast. From beginning to end, this movie had me hooked. The well-done characters, the great gore effects, the above-average acting for a slasher film, and even the kick-ass twist that made this film feel so wholly unique. Made for one of the best slasher films I have seen in years, as well as one of the best remakes I've ever seen, period. This improved upon the original in every fucking aspect you can think of. I know a lot of people like to give Ron Campbell shit for Halloween Ends, but I'm sorry. Try to argue he's a bad actor after this movie. I fucking dare you. He is brilliant in this, and that being said, let me just close this with 3 words. Santa killing Nazis. I'm gonna say that again. Santa killing Nazis. That's all I should have to say to make you want to watch this. If you still don't, there's something wrong with you. At number 9 is Roofman, and I was shocked how good this movie was. I mean, I expected a decent comedy out of it based on the trailers, no more, no less. What I got was a great comedy, mixed with some heart-wrenching drama, and the best performance of Channing Tatum's career. His chemistry with Kirsten Dunst was fantastic, Peter Dinklage was just hilarious, and it absolutely blows my mind that the shit in this movie was based on real events, with this guy escaping prison and secretly living in a Toys R Us for months on end. I guess it's true what they say, you really can't make this shit up. This is undoubtedly one of my favorite films in the Predator franchise. I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of Prey, and Killer of Killers, while fun, didn't do much for me overall. But with Badlands, for me, it was like Dan Trachtenberg had 2 messy strikes and then a massive home run. I love how this film for the first time makes a Predator the protagonist, which, if not done the right way, could have been a fucking disaster. This was anything but, and I'll just go ahead and say it, he may not be human, but Deck is one of the best leads this series has ever had. And I'll gladly say the same thing for Thea, played by Elle Fanning. Absolutely loved the alien references with the company and making Thea a Weyland-Yutani android. Now, I know a lot of people hated the PG-13 rating, and there's 2 points I'd like to make about that. 1, a film's rating has no bearing on how good or bad it is, and by extension, neither does blood or gore. 2, there is still a ton of carnage in this movie. The only reason this is a PG-13 and not an R is because the carnage is happening to androids, other predators, and an assortment of different monsters, not to humans. It was actually a smart move on Trachtenberg's part to do that. Predator Badlands is the best Predator film since Predators was released back in 2010, and maybe even better than that. Took them fucking long enough. Easily one of the best horror films to come out this year. This is a movie that once it gets going, the tension just never lets up. It's essentially about this woman who is on a date in a high-rise restaurant and soon discovers that she needs to kill her date or her son will be killed. This movie is so intense at times I found myself gripping my chair, like white knuckle gripping my chair. The way the main character tries looking around the room to try to deduce who is sending her these texts and why, as she tries to unravel this greater mystery, was just thrilling to watch. And Megan Faye's performance is just perfect throughout. She really sells the dread of this entire situation. Now, Christopher Landon was already becoming one of my favorite horror directors with movies like Happy Death Day and Freaky, but I think Drop is without question his best film thus far. The movie, in terms of its characters and its plot, and especially its climax, make it feel like a spiritual successor to Wes Craven's Red Eye. And I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. Red Eye was brilliant, and so was this. Blumhouse put out a lot of bad horror movies this year, but this certainly wasn't one of them. It's a great thriller and a great mystery. Drop simply rocked. Fantastic Four: First Steps was the first Fantastic Four film that really blew me away. The story and world felt like it was ripped straight from the comic panels. Seeing Galactus portrayed accurately on screen just, oh God, it was so mind-blowing. The references and appearances by other villains like the Mole Man were a nice touch. The aesthetic of the world was outstanding, deserving of Oscar consideration. And the actors to play the Four are all great choices. Even Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, which I was initially on the fence about. Vanessa Kirby is amazing in this flick. And please, folks, don't get me wrong. Adam loves him some mid-2000s Jessica Alba. Oh, God damn. But Vanessa Kirby is the definitive Sue Storm in my eyes. She is everything I've always wanted this character to be on screen. I will say, though, I do prefer Evans and Chiklis over Quinn and Backrack. I personally just think they nailed the roles better. But regardless, Fantastic Four: First Steps was the Fantastic Four film I always wanted, and I'm so glad we finally have it. This movie was just fun from beginning to end. It reminded me of the good old days watching movies like Days of Thunder and Top Gun with my dad. This story of an old racer training a new generation was so simple, yet so effective. Once again proving that a great movie can come from anywhere, from even the simplest concept. The races are fun and exhilarating, the acting is pitch perfect from everyone. I dare say this is Brad Pitt's best performance in years. Joseph Kosinski has only made a handful of films, but every single one of them thus far has been a banger. And F1 was absolutely no exception. Holy fucking shit, was this one emotionally scarring. Imagine Stand By Me, only with a lot more dead bodies. No, seriously, if you guys thought Stephen King said fuck them kids when he wrote It, check this shit out. This movie involves kids and teenagers walking until they can't anymore. And when they can't anymore, they're brutally murdered in the goddamn street. The object is that they walk until only one remains, but this movie is so good at building up these characters, it gives you a pit in your stomach because you don't want any of them to die. These characters are so beautifully vivid and well written and likable that when one of them dies, you fucking feel it. You feel that emotion the other characters are feeling. Again, simple concept, but with the most insane execution imaginable. The Long Walk can proudly take its place next to films like Shawshank and Green Mile as a top-tier Stephen King adaptation. They don't happen often, but when they do, they fucking hit and hit hard. This is one I didn't think I would like for two reasons. One, the film was all hyped up for me at the start, which is usually a kiss of death for me. The Blair Witch Project, It Follows, The Neon Demon, The Witch, all of them were hyped up for me and I didn't much care for any of them. Second, I did not like Barbarian. Yet another one that was hyped up for me only to let me down. I'm sorry guys, I thought Barbarian was fucking stupid. But hey, that's just me. Weapons, however, was a massive surprise and a monumental step up from Barbarian. This movie honestly felt like a horror version of Pulp Fiction, with you following several different characters and their different perspectives until the film comes to its climax. The movie brilliantly sets up its mystery and keeps you guessing all the way until the villain finally shows up and reveals herself. And spoilers, Aunt Gladys is a fucking horror icon. That scene where she had the parents stabbing themselves in the face with the forks, made the hairs on my arms stand up. I grew up watching Amy Madigan and Uncle Buck, so it was pretty cool seeing her in a horror movie playing this evil witch. Julie Garner and Josh Brolin, as always, knock it out of the park with their performances, and even Alden Ehrenreich, who I've always loved as an actor, gets his time to shine in this film. Weapons is a very effective horror mystery with great performances and eerie atmosphere, and it preys on the fear of every parent out there by having the mystery be about missing children. God, I just can't wait to see what Zach Cregger does next. Oh, fuck my life. Don't you do me dirty, motherfucker. Don't you do me dirty. Yeah, I can gush about Weapons in The Long Walk all day long, but Sinners was just on another fucking level. Yes, I know it's the 1920s Bayou version of From Dusk Till Dawn. Everyone's made that fucking comparison. But much like I said about Drop being a spiritual successor to Red Eye, I mean that in a positive way. Every bit of this movie fucking rocked. The score, the acting, the characters, cinematography, the way Ryan Coogler shot it. It's fucking perfect. Michael B. Jordan gives two outstanding performances playing both Smoke and Stack respectively, and he does such a great job making both of these characters very distinct in both personality and mannerisms. Supporting performances by Delroy Lindo, Haley Steinfeld, and Jack O'Connell are awesome across the board. The movie is dramatic, it's scary, it's intense, and is one of the best vampire films released in recent years. All the Oscar nominations it got, certainly deserved. But it's not my favorite film of the year. No, that would be this. I swear, I think everyone just forgot about this movie, and it's driving me crazy. I don't know if it's just because it came out at the start of the year or what the hell happened, but Companion was simply outstanding, and I hear no one fucking talking about it anymore. I see everyone jerking off Weapons and Sinners like they're the fucking messiah, and I guess rightfully so, as I said they were awesome, but I think the same amount of love should be directed towards this film. Putting a new spin on the idea of AI and robots, this movie sees a robot companion who thinks she's human being framed for murder. Now she has to escape before the ones framing her can put their plan into motion. What follows is a batshit insane story of love, betrayal, hatred, and self-identity. Iris is such an intriguing and likable character that you want to see her beat these assholes and overcome them. More particularly, the boyfriend who set her up. Both Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid are just phenomenal in the film. While Jack Quaid's turn as a psycho in Scream 5 felt desperate and forced, and I stand by that statement, here it feels so natural. He is the most unimaginable bastard for what he does to Iris. Yes, she's a robot, but she's a robot who thinks she's human and feels real human emotions. So when he does something fucked up to her, you just want this bastard to die. Honestly, I can't say enough great things about this film. It's perfectly written, perfectly directed, it's funny as hell, it's beautifully acted, and I'm sorry, I still, after seeing it countless times since its digital release, have yet to find something I don't love about it. Although it did make me realize something that I do tend to love and gravitate towards films that have an AI sort of backdrop to their stories. Like, for example, in the past, two other favorite movies of the year for me have been The Creator and Ex Machina, both of which hold up incredibly well, by the way. Companion is just the newest film like that to completely win me over. It's a great drama, an insane horror movie, and a brilliant science fiction film. There was simply no other film this year that captivated me more than this did. And for that, it is my favorite film of 2025.
So what were your favorites of the year? Please let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more.